So evidently, this is the only way I could communicate on my wall because I guess I was going too fast or something early on this morning when I was posting that stuff about the VACCINESs. And so evidently I trigger some kind of 24-hour punishment that I can't post anything, but I can comment. Hold on. I can comment and I can evidently go on my other page, my business page, but I can't post. But I can do this Facebook Live like I did this morning. So don't mind my hair, it's kind of crazy. I had to take like 2 showers today. So the pain in my arms, oh yeah, when I couldn't tell you because I was hot last night, like super hot. I couldn't tell you if it was another colony forming unit that I had to, that woke up that I had to go in and deal with. And yeah, after I had the hot water on the back and then right after I pooped, it was just like, oh God. I don't know how people are doing it. I don't know what people are doing out there. Because sitting in the pain, even after eating some food, and I can feel the arm pain, and I'm getting, like, when I was out on the water, and I got burned, but I didn't get peeling until now. That was a couple weeks ago when I had that attack, and now I'm finally dealing with the peeling. But I don't know how people are dealing with this. I don't know how people are handling the pain, because it's crazy. And I'm maybe projecting whatever I'm dealing with, but if I'm feeling some stuff, I can't even imagine what others are feeling right now. It's crazy. And so this morning, I was talking about the VACCINESs and how they are the fertility. And I was right. The antibodies were and are the mark of the beast. But then everyone around you will cause antibodies. See, in a slow frequency environment, you get a small introduction to some low-level microbial fornication. Not a big deal. The offspring are antibodies. Give it introduction. Okay. But I don't understand how they think that the preemptive is going to make your actual exposure better. I don't see that logic. To getting something directly injected in you versus just breathing in someone's, atmosphere in a slow frequency environment, getting the actual inject in you is far more direct inject than just breathing in somebody else's ectoplasm. So the antibodies in the VACCINESs are the mark of the beast. They really are. The system was correct. What do you mean? The people who were protesting this. Now, I understand the logic behind the VACCINESs because it has to do with diversity. It has to do with, human experimentation, diversity, and trying to find the perfect prototypes, trying to find ways to control populations in the body and control populations out there. But what happens is when you try to control populations within the body with the microbial therapies, it develops fertility. I think the system already knew this. You see, that's the thing, man. That's the thing, is that there's so much that was planned way back in the 1700s that what's going on today was already projected. Yeah, was already projected. And that's why they had the fairs back in the 1800s of all the babies that they were producing. And it was like a sideshow having all those babies. They're like, oh, look, all these babies. And then they turn it into a religion. And so that's why America was like the land of the free, the home of the brave. Yeah, you come here, you have to really compete to stay alive. But it was also a melting pot of major human experimentation. And so sitting in the pain of the body pushing the microbes through the arm, the legs, all that. Well, I don't even have the leg pain. For me, my curse, it's the arm pain, it's the shoulder pain, it's the back pain, the wrist pain. It's mostly on my right, the hand that I use all the time, my dominant hand. I don't get too much pain on the left side. I did, but lately it's within the last couple of days, it's been on my right side. I'm like, wow. I woke up with pain this morning. That's why I only did 12-minute Facebook Live. And then I got off and I'm just like, dude, this really sucks. And so I even did a Facebook Reel. So I did a Facebook Reel that I couldn't post because I'm on that timeout until 3 o'clock a.m. But I'm going back one like, yeah, you know, I figured out some shit. And I know, and what's crazy is, the irony is that people don't like the fact that I let my dog suffer, right? They're like, oh God, Jillian's letting her dog suffer. And we have so many people out there that are now afraid of the medical office. They're afraid of the nurses. They're afraid of the doctors because their loved ones are dying from climate change and particle acceleration and, of course, all the different therapies. I don't care which ones you point out. The loved ones are dying and are in major pain from all the therapies, and there is no relief. There's no relief. And they're asking everyone on Facebook what they should do for their friends. But even if they go to the doctor, there is no guarantee that the pain's going to be taken away. How many times do you go and get treated? How many times people go and get treated? They get treated all the time. Why? Because it doesn't work. Nothing works. When you're in climate change like this, nothing works except death. Died suddenly is the only way those that can't handle pain and suffering will find relief. And so it's really a catch-22 and very sad that there are so many chronic pain sufferers that the only way to get some kind of relief is starvation, drugs, of course, alcohol, and died suddenly. And so I had to take a nap a few hours today. And again, like I said, I throw myself in the shower to get the hot water on because it had to open up my blood vessels and everything to make sure things were pushed through and keep everything moving. Because I'll tell you, when the body is pushing the jetsam and flotsam through your blood vessels, it's fucking painful. And it's interesting, I'm seeing people come through from when I had my group from a few years ago, from 2018, more than a few years ago. What are we in 2024? 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 6 years ago. Yeah, the pain's come back. Everything's come back. Whatever you put to sleep in the J world back then and whatever you're trying within the last 3 years since climate change, since the pandemic, it's not working and you think my world's going to work? Oh no, honey, I'm sitting in pain myself. The only way to get relief again is die suddenly or put somebody down, put an animal down. That's the only way they're going to stop suffering. If you can't handle suffering, it's like, yeah, it's going to be, you're going to welcome a die suddenly. When your friends and family are in constant pain and there is nothing, they keep taking more and more and more stuff, it will be eventual die suddenly. Can you imagine people around you, 50 people around you, and they're all at a level where there's nothing works for them. No operations will work for them. No remedies will work for them. No drugs will work for them. And they're just in pain. And they can't handle it. They don't. What I do is I release my demons But see, I've done this for ever since actually way back in 2016. I have been releasing demons down there the way I have in my book. That I didn't talk about it until within the last 3 years. But I have been pulling out crap down there for the last 7 years. And so that's been what's my saving grace. So imagine people around you that have so much crap stuck in their body that they can't get out. And they've been out there all over doing whatever. Haven't been going through the process of immune system activation and sitting with the pain, eating all the food, and letting all the hives and everything else come up. And when they're pushing everything back in the body and thinking my world's going to be a Hail Mary, oh hell no. You've compounded. You had an opportunity in the juice world to release some demons and feel the pain and suffering. But that wasn't the end of it. You had to eat all food. You had to do all that. You had to figure out how to change your lifestyle. And I know that's not possible for a lot of people. And so, yeah, when you have 50 people around you and they're all suffering, diet suddenly is going to be the only relief. And that the system knew this. That's why the system said, do not recommend your friends and family any remedies. Don't give them any over-the-counter drugs. Don't give them any drugs. Don't compound their issue. Because who are we to take away somebody else's pain and suffering? And who are we to force anyone to feel pain and suffering? And so, yeah, everyone is going to be forced to figure out what they can handle. And so the irony is that we have people in these diet suddenly groups that are saying, well, I'm not taking my grandma or grandpa to the doctors, which I can understand because they're afraid of the doctors and nurses now because they don't trust them. And I don't blame them. And so they're asking their friends on Facebook what to do for this and that, and they're recommending all these things that may or may not work. And if they do work, how long will they work for? When they're saying telling somebody to take CAYENNE every single day, I'm like, I would never take any spice every single day. I might have arm pain. I might have joint pain. I might feel little electric shocks here and there and might feel stuff in my shoulder, feel stuff in my back. I ain't taking any kind of remedy. I'm not taking spices. I'm eating food. And sometimes eating that food is painful because then the body has to go through that process and brings up certain hormones like inflammation, and you feel stuff in my hand or my arm. And I noticed that today because of where my immune system is going. But I know things are working in my world because when I ate all that ice cream and drank all that milk and cream and eating the steak and all that stuff, and I would jump off my husband's boat, I didn't shatter an ankle. Because again, if I was actually falling apart and if what I was doing was not working with all this climate change shit, where it's causing so much entropy, causing basically things to fly apart, I probably would have shattered an ankle when I jumped off my husband's boat. That's a lot of weight to put on an ankle after 3 years of pain and suffering that you guys all witnessed. But the fact that I was eating all food and pulling out crap didn't allow the mark of the beast, the antibodies, to sit in the body and basically chomp at my infrastructure. And that's what's going on right now. People have antibodies, the mark of the beast, stuck in their body, trapped in their immune system, and it's causing immunological breakdown. It's causing the deterioration of their bones, the tendons, the fat. They don't have enough fat, enough immune system. It's causing the hormones to trigger the Hayflick limit, so the graying of the hair. And if they're pain-free, yeah, those antibodies are doing a number on people, and it might be making some people stronger. Like you see, these guys are all working out, looking hot and sexy, but then they don't last very long because there's too much resistance, not enough give, not enough fat, not enough immune system. The antibodies are doing a number to their insides, but they don't know it if they don't feel pain, if they're under the influence, then yeah, it's just a matter of time. And so yeah, the mark of the beast. So when I went through my other Facebook, going through all the pictures, I was like, oh my gosh, that's right, the mark of the beast. It shows the Y, right? And that's also the Y chromosome, the Y antibody. What is that? So the women are the X and the guys are the Y. That's why the men are the mark of the beast, the Y antibody. So the mark of the beast is that antibody, and then there's the antigen. So the antibody has docked itself to that antigen, and then that antigen is neutralized. Well, they develop what happens is the antigen and the antibody. The antibody is the actual offspring of the person and the antigen. But when you think about the antigen antibody programming, it's you plus the antigen. It's like basically three of you. And I have to remember that. I can't post it right now but there's three of you. And I have to remember to say that. Is that you have the mark of the beast, and you have the antigen at the top, antibody, and then you are the host. You and the antigen develop the antibody. The host plus the antigen equals the antibody. That is the offspring. Okay, now I write that down. All right. Host plus antigen equals antibody. And those are the plus and minuses. That's the infection. That's the negative times a negative equals a positive. Positive times a positive equals a positive. And then you are the positive, and the antigen and the antibody are the negative. And you'll always be in deficit because there's always energy conversion. So those who are starving on those speed 'em up drugs, those who are on their different diets and everything, those who are actively doing the drugs, taking drugs, doing whatever, you're causing so much offspring. That's why it's deterioration. Why do you think the guy from the Phoenix Tears is dead? Because he did so much of the CBD, it developed, basically, he was the host. He took in the antigen called CBD. It developed antibodies, of which then comes up positive on a titer test if you were to get drug tested. And so host plus antigen equals the antibody. And so the mark of the beast is the antibody. And that's what is inside people's bodies. That's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I don't know what you call the Holy Spirit. Maybe it's the antigen, I guess. I don't know. But that's the three. That's the trifecta of the mark of the beast. And so that's some crazy fucking shit. But see, I had to make sure I characterized it correctly. And so the vaccines, yes, they were the fertility. And so people were correct, but they're not poison. Nothing's poison because people are out there hanging out together, getting inseminated or spike protein poked by their boyfriends and their husbands and their girlfriends. And so if you are okay with having sex with people or getting together with same sex or different sex, then a therapy like a vaccine would be really no different. You're getting direct inject. And then you're also having babies. You're advocating family. You're advocating everybody have a family. And so then you could not characterize the vaccines as anything poisonous because you already implied that you're okay with aggressive fertility and large families and aggressive sexual expression. And so, yeah, the system had to censor us. Absolutely. I understand it. Because if you're going to go after the vaccines, then you got to go after all the people who like family. You got to go after all the sexuality, all the sexual orientation, all the sexual expression. And you can't be discriminatory, but you have to characterize things correctly. And so, yeah, the die suddenly is going to be the ultimate cure and peace for people who right now are suffering astronomically. I mean, what I dealt with today, for most of today, holy shit. And I couldn't tell you where the hell that came from. Because it's so trippy. I ate food this morning and my arm was in pain. I didn't even poop this morning. yeah, I just took a shower and got on Facebook Live, said stuff, and I was like, oh God, my arm's in pain. I'm thinking like, oh, I probably have to poop. But I didn't have to poop. I just went back to bed. And then when I woke up, no, and I think I ate some crackers and stuff. And then I went to bed and I woke up and I had the arm pain, and I threw myself, after I took a poop, I threw myself in the shower and had the hot water go on me. So that was twice that I took a shower today. And then I ate some pizza with some cheese and had the arm pain. I'm like, geez, every time I eat it, I'm gonna have fucking arm pain? I don't care. If I get arm pain from eating, I'm fine, I don't care. But I then went and got some cabbage with some vinegar and no arm pain. But I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm going to be gluten-free and sugar-free. No, because the body evidently is going through some kind of regeneration, rebuilding, and I got to deal with the pain. I'm not going to just not eat. When I'm hungry, which I haven't been like I have. Like I had spaghetti. Yeah, I did have, that's right, I did have some spaghetti. That's right. I had spaghetti. I had spaghetti this morning. And that's right, when I went to the restroom. And then I actually had to go to the restroom. That's right. And then that spaghetti turned into like poop, just like that. It was crazy. It's like my system is going through and cycling through the food so quickly. But I wasn't, I was hungry, but I wasn't starving. But I'll tell you, the last few months, I could tell when I would get done with the Facebook Live that I would be starving, and then I would be eating, and then go to sleep, and then wake up, maybe poop, maybe not. But I wouldn't have too much pain. I'd have the heart palpitations. I haven't had heart palpitations. Now it's just the pain in the arm. And you're thinking like, oh, you're going to have a heart attack? No, because my system is open. If I hadn't been able to get the poop out this morning, that's what caused people to get heart attacks and strokes. Is that they're so constipated, or they don't have enough food in their body that they can't release the demons. They can't release the mark of the beast, the antibodies. That's what's causing their aging process. The antibodies, the mark of the beast, that's what's causing their anxiety. That's what's causing all of their health issues. That's what's causing. Like they're literally, people are invaded by antibodies. And they're programmed antibodies. And you don't even know where the hell they were programmed from, because remember, everyone went through the hospital system getting INJECTED with the VACCINE ever since 17, 16, whatever. Actually, like I said, the Chinese did where they took people's mucus and dried it up and then inhaled it. But also in the Civil War, they were taking smallpox pus and drying it up and having people inhale it for the war, for the Civil War. That's crazy, isn't it? I googled the VACCINES is in the Civil War. I'm like, holy shit, that's what they did? Oh my God. Oh my God. This was going on way before the Civil War. So there's really no one to get mad at. That was just the culture. This is happening in the Middle Ages. Okay? This is all stemmed from the Middle Ages and before. So yeah, people right now are suffering, and that's why they have health issues. That's why they have animals, because people are connected to these animals because they have, it's like a microbial love affair. When you think about it, that's the whole thing with the animals. And then we have people with so much diversity. That's why the system cleaned everything up. And it's crazy. So I finally came to terms with my own stuff with my dog, and that's why I was able to post I posted on my other page, my Jilly Juice business page, with some pictures of myself and my dog. But yeah, I'm sure I'm releasing that beast too out of me, because her microbes definitely invaded mine, and I have to release that demon. And I couldn't tell you how that's manifesting. It's not like the pains in my body are telling me, well, yeah, I'm Sugar's demons. And well, maybe this, when I had this inflamed, that would tell me that I'm still releasing sugars, demons. So yeah, all those microbes, those antibodies, that's the mark of the beast. So the VACCINESs purposely developed the antibodies, the offspring. And that's why you had such a population boom. And that's why you had so much disease and so many people playing with alchemy. Because they were developing different diversity. Yeah, I'm sure trying to remedy disease, but you can't. You just make new ones. You make every single time you try to remedy a disease, I don't care how you do it, herb extract or whatever, pharmaceutical operation, you develop a new disease. You develop a new offspring. You anger the host, you, but also the demons within, and they get back at people when they get cut into. But every single time you remedy a disease, smoking pot, doing any kind of drug, you are developing new diseases. And of course, obviously, when you hang out with people, you might be able to release some demons, but not all the time. And so, yeah, humans, again, you can't blame anyone. You can't blame Bill Gates. You can't blame any of the Soros or any of these guys, because they're picking up where the system left off, and they're trying to see the intentions through. What is that? Population control, yes, because people do let procreation get out of control, but they did it purposely with all the VACCINEs. So because remember, the population wasn't so big, huge until they started, because they didn't like the type of people. They wanted to bring the human race up to a certain level. And how do you do that? Well, you have to have so much diversity. You have to have so many different petri dishes, all with their families and their cultures and their religions, and have an extremely advanced society. And you also have to regulate them, regulate their behaviors, regulate their frequencies, regulate so many things. And then once they get the infrastructure in place, once they get the concepts in place, once they say, okay, you can do this, but you can't do this, once they develop a way for you to express yourself, doesn't mean you're going to get the justice. Once you can get somebody to go and play judge, jury, and executioner, then they're like, okay, like we're going on right now. You go on your Facebook, say what you got to say, but you can't say this, you can't make claims like this, and you can't do this, da, da, da. But here, within these parameters, now, show us who can survive the climate change, who can survive adaptation, who can survive pain and suffering. And they'll still find a way for you to go and feel like you're doing something. No, go get your operation. You can go pay for an operation and suffer more. You can go get your drugs. You can go get your oncology. You can go get all your different things. And it's not like it's really going to help you, because you're going to have to go back and get them at some point. Again, nothing. An effective cure is death. That's what an extremely effective cure is. It's death. But the system figure out how to play with death and life. But in this kind of environment where it's so hot and the climate's changing so much, there's no guarantee whatever cure that you've taken on is going to last, if it even helps you at all. Cures are never supposed to be something you rely on, because cures equals death. So the irony is that people don't like me let my dog suffer, so I try to save her. But man, they are definitely afraid. Now you understand what I was dealing with. So those in the diet-sunlight groups who are so afraid of the doctors and nurses, and I don't fucking blame you. That's why I didn't get my dog treated. That's why I tried to see if I can get her through as fast as I could, giving her food and letting her release demons, and see if I can get ahead of it. But she had too much damage from the surgeries. But now you know what I felt like. Those in the diet sun groups know exactly what I dealt with. When you know that the medical holistic system is medical system, I'm not going to say holistic because everyone's doing the holistic shit. But the reason why I had to take my dog to the vet, because I knew they were going to do more damage to her. And I didn't want to compound it because it's already bad enough. So that's why I didn't get her treated. But the damage done to her was so egregious and I didn't have enough infrastructure or the energy or enough help. And the environment was changing so fast, causing her immune system to activate so much. It was done. She was still alive when I took her to the vet. I couldn't go in there when they had to put her down. There's no fucking way I can go in there. Oh no. So people in the die-selling groups know exactly how I felt with my dog, with their loved ones who are suffering astronomically. And when you are procreating on bodies in deficit, and you don't even know what deficit means because humans are basically dumb right now. Like literally, humans are children. But when you program bodies in deficit, and when the climate changes and they're around so much diversity, animals and other people and other diseases, and they're taking the therapies, yeah, you are developing inevitable suffering. That the only thing left is to die suddenly. That's the only thing left to give people some kind of peace and they can move on. And I never thought I would ever say this, but I understand now. I can handle the suffering. I know what to do. I've done what I've been doing and it's been working. I mean, it's not easy, but you can never impose the suffering on an animal. You can never impose suffering on a child. You can never impose the suffering on a family member. Because when they're in pain, even if going to the doctor is no guarantee. So then what do? That's what I'm saying. People are fucked. They're screwed. And it sucks. And you can't even watch anymore. I watch it to ground myself, to remind me of the world that I live in. But yeah, hearing the sirens this morning, looking outside, and it's like LED white light, though yesterday was kind of weird. It was an orange light. I was like, why is the sun orange today? That was just really weird. But I mean, yeah, I know the world I live in, and I can feel it. And the fact that I finally made that connection, that the vaccines were the fertility. They were the fertility. And yeah, they were probably the catalyst to all the different neurological diseases. Yeah, autism. I wouldn't put it past that autism would have been some kind of casualty, or I don't say casualty. That would have been something that would have been a byproduct of aggressive fertility. So, train's already left the station. It's pretty much done. Now people are going to have to take the therapies to give them to let them die suddenly. Because at this point, the therapies will be so effective during this climate change, and with how much they're suffering, they will take so much of those therapies. They'll end up dying sadly. That's what the system probably expected. And you can't do anything about it. I mean, it's kind of sad, but it's not, but it is. Because when the world changes, you have to be able to change. If you can't change, you can't evolve, you can't eat food. If you can't sit with the pain and self-study and sit on your own and do things on your own, the system can't babysit people forever. So they gave you a great life. They gave you a great world to live in. They gave you vacations. They gave you friends and family, and they gave you drugs, alcohol, and sex, and hot chicks and hot girls, and they gave you, ways to make money, and they gave you whatever, pleasure in paradise that people are enjoying. And then at some point you have to pay the piper. And so I could probably imagine that not every place had the same frequencies. But then I came in this world at a deficit. Even though I have DNA that probably wasn't as traumatized maybe as some others, because I came from Vietnam back then, and I'm sure Vietnam even the 1960s and 70s was still way back in the dark ages, not literally, but And so, I still dealt with, what was I saying? Shit. Oh God, this is when I will get these little neurological lapses here. But yeah, I just forgot what I was going to say. But whatever. But yeah, I mean, that came from Vietnam. That's right. I came at a deficit. Fuck. And so I'm here in a town. People are like Italian, like big Italians, German, Appalachian, Scotch, Irish, and African American. There are so many hardy genetics over here that I'm actually having to catch up. So that's probably why I'm feeling a lot more than I see people in other places, because they already have the hardy genetics. And even though they might live in Nevada or they live in California, the places in between, they might have the Northern European genetics that they can handle the climate change. But remember, the system is not going to let up. It's affecting me because I'm at a level where, let's say my husband is like, he's Germanic and Scotch or Irish, something. He's Germanic and English. And so he got affected, but he will get really affected maybe at like 7 or 8G. So I would get affected already. Actually got affected 3 years ago at the 5G, 4G, 3G. But so those that are like, 8G or 9G are probably not going to be like, affected by things that are going on. But when the system gets up to those points, then even those that are so hardy and so robust and so whatever, eventually they will get affected, and so will their children. And so I'm thinking that some places don't get a lot of the different aggressive frequencies, because you saw how the heat started off in Ohio and then it radiated out. And so the 6 to 14 day forecast, projected forecast, shows now, I think I've seen an updated version, that now the heat is like red almost everywhere in the Northeast, and it's radiating out. And so eventually those that I'm like, how are they just going off and gallivanting? How are they not like, maybe they're under the influence. Maybe they had an operation. Maybe they're on drugs. I don't know what people are doing. I don't know people who are out there. Honestly, they're like on marijuana and all that stuff and taking their medications. And I think that's probably what the deal is that those that are out there pretending like everything is great, I think they're on prescription drugs, maybe illicit drugs, or they're just constantly, drinking alcohol. I don't know. But when you're completely sober, like I am, like completely clean and sober, I feel everything. And that is a good thing, because then I know how to help my body. When I feel pain, like I felt pain this morning, I definitely had to go poop. And I made sure that poop was gone. And so even the pain in my arms lets me know that it's pushing something through. And I have to go and clear my alimentary canal. And so the pain is the indicator for me to eat food and to release demons and to also sleep. And so those that are pain-free right now, it's like, yeah, they're ticking time bombs. They're walking and then they're deteriorating. And they're highly emotional. And they're full of antibodies. They're full of the mark of the beast. Antibodies are mark of the beast. And then you see the allegory. And then also biology. Males, the Y chromosome. And you're like, oh, I get it. Then you look at Lucifer, you look at Satan, you look at Jesus, you look at Muhammad, all the different prophets or men. Who is it? Noah, Moses, Abraham, all the patriarchal society. That's the mark of the beast. I'm not saying men are devilish. No, it's just, it's the hormones. Men are the innovators, and they can also be the destroyers. Men are extremely smart, and they also can be extremely dumb. Men can be like saviors, and they can be predators. Okay? And women have to figure out how to survive the men in their world and the men in their society. So anyways, yeah, I just figured I'd just say what I had to say, because I'm on Facebook jail. And I didn't do anything wrong. I think I was just going really fast. I kept editing the posts. Remember those long posts that I would do? I hadn't triggered the where I'm going too fast type of thing. But it didn't even say I was going too fast. It just said that I violated something with Facebook. I don't even know what the hell it is. They won't tell you. But I didn't post anything. Maybe it's because I used VACCINE too many times. I don't know. That's a trigger word on Facebook. Well, of course it is. Of course it is. But remember, they're not poison. They're fertility. And fertility is dangerous in a highly accelerated hot climate called climate change. Okay? And so, yeah, if we can go back to what we were back in 900 AD, we had 2 million people, right? Was it 500 million? That's what they want us to have, is 500 million. Yeah, we're going to get to that at some point. We're going to get to 500 million at some point. But we have a lot of people to go through. But 500 million is the target. And it's going to be painful. It's going to be painful. So you can't stop it. There's no point in resisting. There's not enough medication or oncology in the world that's going to make it better. It's just going to keep shortening your life until eventually you will have to die suddenly or, treat yourself to death. And there are some places in, Sweden or Switzerland, where they have the euthanasia boxes, where if you are dealing with major neuropathy that there is no medication, nothing can help you, you have the option to take yourself out. Because can you imagine living in aggressive pain every single day? And you don't know my method because you don't understand my method. My method is too much for people. If they don't have access to showers and clean water and milk and meat and cheese and eggs and fruits and vegetables, they don't have access to that, they would want to basically take themselves out. Because sitting in that kind of pain on a daily basis, where I have to take a nap sometimes to escape the pain. Oh yeah, I can see why people do voluntary euthanasia on themselves. Oh yeah, it's bad. It's crazy. So remember, the target population the system wants in the future, 500 million. Georgia Guidestones. Be not a cancer on this earth. What is it? Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Be not a cancer on this earth. Leave, hold on. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. And right now, Florida is a lot of southern Florida, southwest Florida, underwater. I told you guys this, but not that it doesn't make a difference. People don't have the means to move. It's whatever it is. It doesn't matter if you tell people anything. They can't afford to move. And if they did move, where are they going to go? What are they going to do? Housing prices are going to be through the roof. When people start migrating north because the south is just too hot and too inundated with water, prices are going to go up. Insurance going to go, insurance. Prices are going to go up and there won't be anything left. Can you imagine how many millions of people in Florida wanting to move to Ohio or all the points in between? I wouldn't want to live in the south or anywhere on the coast. If you're more inland, okay, but you still got to deal with tornadoes. Anyways, all right, I'm going to do my thing. But I wanted to communicate that as far as suffering. Yeah. People know what I went through right now in the died suddenly groups. They don't trust the doctors. They don't trust the nurses. Like I don't trust the doctors or the nurses or the veterinarians. And they're completely done with the medical system. Like they are done, like I was done with the veterinary system. I was fucking fed up. And so, yeah, I was stuck between a rock and a hard place. So are the people in these diet suddenly groups. They are stuck between a rock and a hard place. And it's a fucked up place to be in. So they know what I felt like. They know exactly what I felt like in a different circumstance with their own family members. That they don't want to get treated at the hospital or at the doctor's office because they don't trust the nurses or the doctors anymore. They're done. Well, what's left? Died suddenly, put down, or let them suffer. And that's no way to fucking live. Bye.